everybody, it's your girl Angel here, and I think the video game industry is going to have another crash. What do you think? I honestly believe that the game crash is coming. Well, as you guys know, that YouTube's stupid, but anyways, as you guys know, Nintendo and their idiotic prices of the Switch 2, and then them coming out saying, "Oh well, $80 for video games, is the correct thing." We believe that the quality of the game requires higher price.
No, no, it doesn't, because people are not going to be able to afford the game.
Idiots. And what do we have here? Well, we all know that Sony raised the prices of PlayStation in other countries, and they probably going to see what the industry is doing, and they're probably going to raise prices everywhere. But the prices of video games is going to go up. Probably when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it might be $100. That's a speculation. The game's not. Grand Theft Auto's not worth $60. It's not worth $80. It's worth about $40. Anyways, that's my opinion. But what do we have here about Xbox? Microsoft, I love you. I think you're a great company, and I think that you're a great company and all, but what the hell is wrong with your Xbox division? In the gaming landscape of everything getting more expensive, they had a budget console that they could have won with, but instead, they stepped on a bunch of rakes, they fell down a hole, and they decided, well, we gotta raise the prices. And they're like, well, because of the they didn't say orange Cheeto, I'm saying orange Cheetos, tariffs and their trade wars, that everything's gotta go up. When people are struggling as it is, and their escape is to play video games, this got a hellacious more expensive. People are not going to be able to afford motherfucking video games, okay? And this is something that really irritates me, right? Because I'm in that category of I can't afford $80 for a video game. That's the reason why I like Xbox Game Pass, because it's a subscription fee and I can play all the video games that I want to. And all the video games that I've played over the last few months probably equals up to close to $1,000 if you're charging $100 a video game. And then I heard some straw man arguments from back, video games were expensive back in the day if we put it through inflation calculators. No. Nope, stop using inflation calculators. We wasn't spending that kind of money back then. In today's prices, we wasn't. But some of us went to the local video store and rented our video games. We rented our Sega Genesis games, our Super Nintendo games. We beat the games. Took it back to the video store. If we didn't beat it, well, we kept it at home and we went to the video store and we put more money down to play the video game. We kept our consoles on the whole time, paused it, came back to it. There wasn't no saves back in those days. You had to pause the console, and sometimes your console would stay on for hours, days, trying to beat a video game. Once you did, you just turn the game back into the video store and rent another one if you couldn't afford to buy video games. Xbox Game Pass is the equivalent of renting video games, but with a subscription. It's the same thing with the movie concept. You pay for a streaming service to watch your movies. You're basically renting and your TV shows and your movies from that streaming platform. It's the modern day equivalent of renting. And there's nothing wrong with that. Except for when they want to keep raising the prices to where people can't even afford to do that. And if Xbox decides that they're going to raise the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, because I don't have a lot of storage on my gaming laptop, so I like to do streaming my games from the cloud, then I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to play video games. And all the video games that I've bought, I played over and over and over again, and literally, they're boring now. Getting back to this Xbox stuff, let's see here. Let's see what we have. This comes from Wario64 here on Blue Sky, and it says Microsoft raises the prices of all Xbox consoles. Yeah, all series consoles, all Xbox consoles. Xbox games confirmed to hit $80 this holiday. Thanks, Nintendo. And then we get into the ludicrous. Going forward, here's the expected prices of various Xbox consoles and accessories in the USA. I just seen something that made my eye completely twitch. But anyways, let's move on from this, shall we? The Xbox Series S, the 512 edition. Really, 512 is not enough to play video games, but this is the budget console, right? This is the budget console, right? $299, $300 price point was the budget console that this is, right? It was based at the perfect price. And now it's almost $380 for a 512 gigabyte console. Have you gone bloody mad? Seriously. $300 was a perfect price for that entry point console. Oh, and it goes up because the Series S is, and this is all digital. They do not have game drives, by the way. 1 terabyte is $430. What? Are you? Oh my God. And the Xbox Series X Digital is $549. This is what the original prices were right here. And this is the new prices. $429 for a 1 terabyte drive. The $349 or the $350 was a great price point for that console. And the digital $450 was what I thought was a great price. But $550? That's a hellacious price increase. These are all hellacious price increases. The regular Series X with the disk drive is $600. Did you add a new chip in there? Is this the Pro version? Oh God. The special edition 2 terabyte one is hang on a second. Your girl's going to need some Xanax over here or some marijuana or something. $730? Are you ridiculous, Microsoft? I think somebody else needs to be running the Xbox division of Microsoft. Hire me. Hire me. I will make you tons of money. You need to get some... Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Woo! Wow. That's the price of some entry-level budget gaming computers at that price. That is... They're... Didn't I remind you that these consoles all came out in 2020? This is a... There's nothing special except for a bigger hard drive and a coat of paint. There's $729, $730. It was $600. This is I understand the tariffs, the global trade wars. I understand all of that, but this is ludicrous. This is stupid. Let's get on with the controllers. The regular core controller is 600 and wow, for $600 we got problems, Angel. Is $64. The wireless Xbox controller colored, which is $69. I got my pink one for $59 at Walmart. I didn't get it for $69. Is this new prices or is this the prices that it was already? Because $70, is that for the limited edition special color ones that you can customize? Because, anyways, why am I holding my controller? This is not a Dreamcast guy video. Why am I holding my controller like he does? Anyways, the Xbox wireless controller special edition and limited edition is $79 and $89. Is that the color ones? I don't know. All I got is a basic pink controller. If that one's $70, it's not worth it. I mean, it's got great build quality and stuff, but it's definitely not worth it. And then the Elite Controller Series 2 core is $10 more at $149. The Xbox Controller Series 2 Full Edition is $200. Guess the headsets are staying the price, and the wireless headsets is $120. Wow. Console gaming should not be this expensive. Console gaming should not be this expensive. Microsoft, what are you guys doing over at the Xbox division? What are you doing? I love Microsoft. I do. I was a big fangirl whenever I went to go to the Microsoft campus last year. It was a really cool experience. I got to see the history. I got to talk to some of the most nicest people you can talk to. I was a fangirl. I was sitting there twirling my hair and everything, talking to one of the guys. Maybe I was flirting with him. I don't know. I think he was flirting back. I don't know. You know, he gave me a bunch of ink pens and stickers and everything else. Maybe he thought I was special. I don't know. It was a really cool experience, and I have a lot of respect for Microsoft as a company. I think what they're doing and some of the values that they hold is really great, but what are they doing at the Xbox division? These people always stand in their way. They trip over their feet. They step on rakes. They keep on doing stuff that makes me like, what are you doing? And you guys better not raise the price of Game Pass Ultimate. You should not raise the price of Game Pass Ultimate. It should stay right where it is. It's a couple dollars more expensive than it was about 3 years ago, but it's still at a perfect price. Do not raise the price of Game Pass Ultimate, because if you do, I think you can never recover from this. And let's see what good old Alex has to say about all of this.
There it is! There it is! The industry and the gaming landscape is going to fall into an absolute pit of depravity, and we are honestly here for it. That's right. Microsoft, Xbox, you literally only had one job!
Yeah, I feel the rage too. I honestly do.
I have never seen a company more inept in my entire life completely. The fact that Xbox is in literal last place right now.
They
and
are.
Has had the actual
They are.
opportunity to turn things around multiple times, and I've given them the benefit of the doubt to say, hey, you know what? Maybe they'll actually get their head out of their rear end and do something right for once. Maybe they'll go ahead and do something pro-consumer like they have been with backwards compatibility, with Game Pass. But you know what? All they had to do...
Game Pass, and I've been marching Game Pass for a while now, because I think Game Pass seriously is really great. And I think that if they don't touch the price and video games are $80, $90, $100 plus, I think Game Pass might be a great option for people who already has an Xbox console or a PC. Fortunately, I can't justify those prices of those consoles. That is stupidity at its finest. And they can say,
Well, it's the tariffs and the global trade war.
I understand that, but y'all had the perfect prices for the consoles. And you all could have turned it around.
Was one thing, and they in fact chose not to do that thing. And the only thing Xbox had to do was
Nothing.
nothing. All they had to do was
Nothing.
While everybody else was raising their prices, while Nintendo was making $80 games, while they were charging $450 for the Nintendo Switch 2, while PlayStation was making $700 consoles, while they were raising the prices of all their services, all Xbox had to do was listen to Valve and do literally
Nothing.
Keep things as the status quo. Do things as they already were, and people would begin to flock to them.
Yeah, that's true. That is 100% true. I mean, Valve ain't raising the price of the Steam Deck. None of these other OEMs are raising the prices of their portable gaming systems, except for they have raised the price of some of their gaming laptops, which some of them I kind of don't agree with the prices due to the hardware that's in it, MSI. Anyways.
That platform, but no, they couldn't. Of course, like every single time that I always say, Xbox decided to step on a rake again.
That's Phil Spencer right there.
This has to be the most idiotic, moronic, stupid company on the face of the earth. Regardless of how you feel about exclusives and, oh my god, a third party.
While I think Microsoft is a great company, I think that their Xbox, am I having a stroke? Xbox, I think the Xbox needs new leadership. I think the Xbox division needs new leadership, to be honest with you.
What truly matters is what happens to the consumer directly. And what's happening in the gaming market right now is that we are seeing consistent price increases and price hikes year over year. This is the third time now that game consoles and prices of games have increased as well. And it is getting to be incredibly out of hand. Anybody sitting here looking me dead in the eye for the last 5 years while I made this kind of content telling me, oh, you're just a broke boy, get your money up. When is the line going to be enough? When is it going to be there, huh? What are you, Pokemon fan?
I would like to know. I would actually like to know what is the line for some of these fanboys, to be honest with you. Because I think that a lot of people, the line has been crossed. And we're going to do the Pokemon stuff, are we really? I don't care for her, by the way.
Like, oh my god, $28 for cookies? It's 4 bags. That's $7 a bag. I know, math is hard. Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so. Anyway.
It is honestly completely
That's the reason why I don't like her.
Reprehensible that so many other companies have been defended when they raise prices, talking about that's the price of the gaming industry, that's how things are going, inflation, using the worst stupid.
I absolutely hate people who poor shame others. That's something I cannot stand, is people that poor shame others. Especially when more and more people are becoming poor.
Inflation calculator I've honestly ever seen. But oh god, I'm gonna crash out. All right. Let's go back to the beginning and see what actually happened, shall we? Because honestly, my emotions are getting a little bit too high, because the thing is, I am sick and tired of the gaming industry trying to every 20 minutes it possibly can.
I agree.
Let's go.
I agree.
You see, it turns out that the other day, Hazardor Gaming on Twitter posted this. Microsoft had an earnings call for Q3 of 2025, and here's what happened. Gaming revenue was up by 5%, hardware revenue was down by 6%, and content and services revenue was up by 8%. It was driven by growth in Xbox Game Pass, especially on PC, by 45%, and Call of Duty and Minecraft.
Okay, well that seems pretty good. I mean, not with the hardware, but it's still not bad. I mean, they're making lots of money.
this is actually pretty good news. The fact that the company was in a downslope for quite some time.
Yeah.
The hardware dips in revenue of the actual console sales isn't as drastic as it normally was back in previous years. So at least that's leveled off. And they've started to actually increase and make some money back. Fantastic. Going third party was in fact the best.
What did they do? They fell down a hole, and they thought that raising the prices of the consoles and everything was a great idea. Well, Microsoft, it was not a great idea, and it was stupid. Jeez, Phil Spencer, why? Odd.
Thing for them. But it got even crazier because it turns out that Microsoft is now also the biggest publisher on PlayStation, as PC Game Pass hit 45% year-over-year growth. So not only is Microsoft getting the highest amount of sales from PlayStation on their platform, not only...
Yeah, because people are buying Xbox games on their PlayStation. So they're Xbox gamers on PlayStation? And people are seeing the value in Game Pass, whether it's on Xbox or on their phones or on their PCs. Now, that's a really nifty looking handheld device right there. I got Game Pass Ultimate.
Only are they having the highest amount of growth for Game Pass on PC, they're making much more revenue than they did before. They're not having a downturn like they did previous years, so things got to be on the up and up, right? Things got to be looking good. Maybe if they just, like I said, stay on the same course and don't do anything, they'll actually do something positive. But what did Microsoft do instead? Microsoft will now be raising the prices of all Xbox Series consoles, and games are going to be confirmed to hit $80 by this holiday. The Xbox Series X is now $599. I can't, bro. A console that came out in 2020 is now $100 more expensive than it was.
Prices should be coming down.
Explain to me in any conceivable fashion how this is even appropriate for anybody to put out. This is actually a bigger increase than what PlayStation did with their Slim model. Yeah, it's worse than that. The fact that you're spending $600 on a console, the idea...
That's the problem with the thing, because Slim consoles means that they reduced manufacturing costs, made it slimmer, so most Slim models usually get a price decrease when they came out, but PlayStation did a price increase when it came out. Help me make sense of that.
The idea of having a console now as a cheap, affordable option to get into gaming in the first place is now out the window.
Yeah.
Why spend $600
I
on
agree.
Xbox Series X when you can buy a Pro for $700? The literal PS5 Pro that is in fact an actual scam now looks like a good thing in comparison to the Series X that is $600, which is now a huge scam. How any company could be this actually is absurd to me. How they are literally going around and doing everything they possibly can to sabotage themselves in every sense of the word.
I think they somebody at the board meeting over there says, well, look what Nintendo's doing, and they're like, oh, we can do that too. And Nintendo's going to make money. We could do that. No, Microsoft. No. See, whatever you guys are doing over at the Xbox division, stop. Nintendo's in first place. They're greedy. Sony's in second place. They're greedy. And you're in third place. You can't be greedy. You can't. Because you have to win most of the people to your platform. By having affordable options, that's how you do it.
They made games for Windows Live, so of course they're going to act this way.
Oh God, don't bring up games for Windows Live. Let's not speak of that dark era again. Anyways.
Too. But you know what? I wanted to pull something up that I remembered showing around recently. There was an interview with Phil Spencer back in 2024. Wait till you hear what he has to say about this.
Oh
You're gonna
no,
love
this is not this.
With an interview with Business Insider, here's what Phil Spencer had to say about rising game prices. We've raised the price of games, says Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, told GameFile, a newsletter focused on business of gaming. We went through COVID. We found ways of getting more money per player. I think at some point you reach a peak on that, and frankly, it can go to some places that are manipulative that I am not a big fan of. Spencer continues by saying, I don't think we're doing a good enough job of finding new players, Spencer said. Let's pick consoles as a good example. We found 200 million global households that will play console games, and that number really hasn't changed in the last 5 to 6 years. The solution? Search for new customers by making Xbox games more accessible. You know what's going to make Xbox games more accessible, Philly Spencerino? Not raising the price of the console and the games outside of a bracket that people can't afford.
I agree. I agree. He said this last year, right? Microsoft, you guys need to do something about your Xbox division because they're going to continuously lose money.
Oh, God! It's so ridiculous. You morons, you clowns. You're sitting here causing the actual second crash of gaming because you're so obsessed with increasing the profit margin on a consistent basis that you are literally doing the thing you don't want to have happen. How on...
Yeah, I agree. PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, they're going to be causing the crash because no one's going to be able to afford video gaming. They're not going to be able to afford consoles. They're not going to be able to afford video games.
Earth can you increase the market reach that you're trying to get if you're pricing people out of actually accessing the console and the games itself? I have never seen a company more idiotic, moronic, and stupid than Microsoft. Literally getting the entire industry to hand them a potential W on a silver platter, as Nintendo gets lambasted for their price increases, as PlayStation gets lambasted for their price increases. And what do you clowns do? Like AMD being Nvidia's I'm gonna join the party too, guys. Boy, let's raise the game prices.
I don't agree with what AMD did either. And I don't agree with what the fucking Nvidia is doing either. Their prices are out to lunch. Nobody's being able to afford this next gen of graphics cards either because of the stupid prices.
No! You're doing the wrong thing! How many times do you have to take an L over and over to realize you are not that guy, my boy? It shouldn't be this way. You're in third place. You're losing everything. And the only thing you have to do is literally do nothing. And you can't even do that! The crazier part is the meme that I made was only supposed to be a meme. You guys stepping on a rake every single time you do one good thing, you do two bad things right behind it, isn't supposed to be a truth thing. It's not supposed to be something that is actually coming to fruition. It's supposed to be a joke, and you are watching this content and literally doing it yourselves. Hell, just like 2 weeks ago when I made a video about how you could exactly do something to be a positive force in the gaming industry, here's what I said. And hopefully, though, Microsoft doesn't go ahead and screw me the entire time by raising the price of Game Pass, not about a week after I make this video. Will be funny to see, though, I'll tell you that. Imagine if they did that, though. Like, I put this video out like, hey, you guys are being pro-consumer. Good job. And then all of a sudden, they're like, Game Pass, $35 a month. It's like, oh, great. Now I'm a flip-flopper. Now I'm just a flip-flopper. You know, that'd be that whole thing. That'd be...
If they made Xbox Game Pass $35, fuck you.
Just... That would be my luck. That really would be my luck.
That's pretty good.
You see, me predicting the future should not be a good thing. It's actually a bad thing. When I say something is going to happen, that is the worst outcome for consumers. Instead of you guys increasing the price of Game Pass, you're increasing the price of consoles and video games to $80. And look, people are going to be like, oh, blame Nintendo. No, No. I'm not going to blame Nintendo. Although they were the first ones to fire across the bow to say, hey, we're charging $80. There is no way on earth you can put the entire blame on Nintendo directly. What you can put the blame on,
Whoopsie, I did.
though, is the fact that companies and corporations have an army of simps going out to defend them and these price increases. Everything from trying to blame the tariffs, which honestly make no sense, we're going to debunk that as well, to going around and screaming things like support the devs as they
Yeah, I would like to know about the tariffs. I would like to know about the tariffs because the price increases, and they're using the tariffs as, like I said, I don't get it. And I understand that there's a global trade war going on, right? Started by the Orange Menace. But those prices are absolutely astronomically stupid compared to, I think it's greed, mostly. I think a lot of these corporations, and I agree, a lot of these corporations are doing it. You see prices going up across the board, even when you're going in the grocery store, right? I could understand the egg prices due to, the bird flu and things like that, right? But it's like, seriously? How are the tariffs to blame for stuff that is made in the United States, like potato chips and pet food? Oh, but they say we have to raise the prices because of the tariffs. But it doesn't say anywhere that you outsource some of the ingredients. So if everything is made right in America, such as the food and stuff like chips, pet food, and things like that, why on earth are you raising the prices? It's just like I watched a video on TikTok, and they asked, what was it, Procter & Gamble or something, the people who make either, Pampers or Huggies, on why that the price of the diapers increased so much over the last few weeks. And they said, well, because of the tariffs and the global trade, while all of our products are made in America with America-sourced stuff, we still have to increase the prices due to the fact that some of our other products we have to get from a global source. No. You can raise the prices on those products, but the products that are made in America, like soap, diapers, or things like that, you have no reason to raise those prices. But you justified raising the prices because of the other products that you make, and the tariffs is the reason why you have to raise prices. No, it's greed. It's all greed, right? It's all greed. And I agree with her that some things should never have a price increase, and they're using the tariffs to increase prices when they absolutely don't have to. Look at all the manufacturers of stuff, right? That's American made. Like I said, American made. Why the hell are those prices going up? Call the corporation and they go, because of the tariffs. How does the tariffs affect American-made products with American-made goods? And then they say, well, we outsource some of our stuff, and that's the reason why we have to raise our prices for everything. Why are you raising prices of consoles when they're already manufactured and they're already on store shelves? Why? And you cannot blame tariffs for the cost of video games. Right? Because digital games shouldn't be subject to tariffs because it's all digital. But yet digital games are going to have the $80, $90 price tags, like the physical counterparts. There's nothing being manufactured in a video game for it to be justified $80 from the tariffs. because it's digital. You're not buying a card, you're not buying a disc, but it's still $80? Yeah. I'm starting to wonder, though, because of the tariffs, they're just using that to raise prices astronomically where they don't have to. But I can understand that there is a global trade war going on that might get worser, but it don't justify some of these prices. I'm not a math scholar, but I watch a lot of experts, and some of the prices that some of these people break down, it's just not there. The prices are just not there. The corporations charge a high price because they want to blame the tariffs for it, but they don't really have to raise prices at all, or they don't have to raise prices so high, but they're using the tariffs to rip people off and to steal more people's money. That's what I think is happening, but I understand there's a global trade war going on, and I understand that companies are using it to their advantage. Advantage? Apparently I'm having a stroke today.
Record layoffs and
Your girl is having a stroke, I think.
record profits in the same exact actual fiscal year, to going around and doing everything they possibly can by saying things like, I'll spend $100 for a video game if it's a kawaii, as we've talked
Yeah, I don't care how good of a quality the video game is. It's not worth $100.
about consistently. The problem isn't just the game companies. The problem isn't just Nintendo, because every other game company was raising their game prices when 2K did it first to $70, when Activision did it to $60 back in the 360 days. And what happens is every other game developer and company goes ahead and says, well, we're going to do it too. Instead of just actually bucking the trend, they say, well, if they're going to charge 10 more bucks, so can we. And that's what's going to happen. Now, GTA 6, I'm kind of thinking that's going to be a $100 game. And when that hits
If it's $100 or more, that might be a problem.
$100 and breaks the dam, what's going to happen? Every other game will hit $100. But you know what? Let's not put
That's true. That's true.
the cart before the horse. Let's see what actually happened in terms of pricing directly with these new changes, shall we? You see, Xbox put out a PDF with multiple different countries. One for the United Kingdom, one for the US, one for Europe,
Here we go.
and one for Australia. And they each showed the breakdown and price increase of every single console and peripheral that will be happening basically immediately, by the way. And here's what they had to say. For the consoles, the Xbox Series S 512GB model is now $379. Almost $400 for a console that is supposed to be the budget entry model.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It plays games at 720p
Yeah.
upscaled at 30 FPS, and you want $400 for it.
Yeah.
I can't. That's the 512 model, by the way. The 1TB model, $429. Almost the price of a Nintendo Switch 2. You can't make this up. On top of that, the Xbox Series X Digital is now $549. Why would you raise the price? It should go down, not up.
I
These
agree.
things don't gain value, they depreciate value, but it gets better. The Xbox Series X is now $599, $600 for a console. The Series X 2TB, the Galaxy Black Special Edition, is $729. It is more expensive than the PS5 Pro.
Yeah. Yeah.
The PS5 Pro is more powerful, does not have the disk drive, but it is $29 cheaper
Yeah.
than the Series X 2TB, when the Pro also has 2 terabytes.
Do you think Sony's going to raise the prices? There's rumors that Sony's going to be raising the prices too. That Pro might cost $800.
How do you sit there and make a scam look good? I just can't, bro. I just can't.
At this point, those consoles are not worth those prices. I keep saying that. It's not worth the prices. These are 2020 hardware. They should be going down and getting a price decrease like every console does have in its generation life cycle.
What were they thinking? What were they absolutely...
This is the reason why I think tariffs is not the answer for these prices. But some experts say it's the tariffs. I don't believe that. Because the more I look at the prices, the more I think that this is just pure greed on Xbox.
thinking? And what's even more wild is when you look at the PS5 Slim, it's $499. It is literally $50 cheaper than the Xbox Series X digital version. So you're pricing yourselves out of the actual competition.
Does this mean I ain't going to get sponsorship from Microsoft or Xbox now because I think that they are doing a stupid move? I don't care. I honestly don't care. I'm a PC gamer. While I like Microsoft and I like Game Pass, I think that they're doing a very, very, very disservice to the community, and this is a stupid move. Nintendo's price for their console is kind of stupid too. But yeah, just wait, because the rumors have it that Sony is going to be raising their prices too. If everybody else can do it, they can do it too, and they'll just blame the tariffs. But then again, Sony raised the price of their consoles in other countries. Yeah.
What? There's so much going through my head right now, I have to collect myself. Hold on. Okay. And let's talk about this directly, shall we? The entire tariff argument that people are using. Oh, you gotta blame the orange men for the tariffs. No, this is not a tariff thing. Because if it was a tariff thing, it would only be impacting the U.S. When
That's right.
It is impacting the entire world. It is impacting Australia, Europe, and the UK that do not have these tariff issues against China. So, trying to make this a political statement and argument is stupid. Don't do that. You're being a clown when you do. Microsoft going around and being...
Like I said, there is a global trade war, right? It's mostly the United States versus the globe. But he's right. What is this? What does the tariffs have to do with raising the price worldwide? What did the tariffs have to do with Sony raising the prices of their consoles in other countries? I know somebody's probably, well, Angel, the tariffs, they affect every country. No, dumbasses, they don't. They only affect the United States. And the argument can be had, okay, if it was just the United States, it would be like, blame the tariffs of the United States. Yeah, but if the math doesn't jive, and the prices are astronomical, if it was just the United States and the prices were astronomical, right? And it was just in the United States, could you blame the tariffs? Well, if the math doesn't jive and the prices are still astronomically high, then no. You can blame them wanting to use the excuse of the tariffs to justify price increases. When it's not that, it's pure greed. And I keep reiterating about the global trade war. The global trade war is the United States versus the globe. Understand that, right? At this point, they're just pricing everybody out. They only want the super rich people to play video games because they know that the super rich people have the money. And that's the target that they're wanting people to play video games. If you don't have the money for video games, or you don't have the money for this, they don't want you playing video games. They're pricing the consoles out of the hands of people who just want to get lost and play a video game. With all the crap happening in the world today, You just want to get lost in a video game. And they're making it that a hell of a lot harder to do. And yes, there was rumors that I was reading on Facebook and Blue Sky and TikTok about Sony raising the prices in the United States too. And they're blaming the tariffs for it. Once again, Sony last year raised the prices of their consoles in other countries before the Orange Cheeto was in office.
Being the actual dumbest corporation I've ever seen truly is astounding to me. I thought they would have learned their lesson before, but apparently they never do. They always make the same mistakes over and over again. And watching a company that was supposed to be pro...
Also, Microsoft. I have a really quick bone to pick with you about the Windows department, the Windows team. Can you guys get updates right? Ever since the last update to Windows 11, I've been getting blue screen to death. Something about Hypervisor has stopped working. I don't know what Hypervisor is, but apparently it's broken. And I have tried contacting the Windows team several times to report this bug. It's causing blue screens, Microsoft. There's a problem with the latest Windows updates.
Consumer, which honestly is kind of wild to say for Microsoft to do it, to go ahead and talk about things like not manipulating people with increasing prices of games, not manipulating people with increasing prices of consoles, to go ahead and offer a viable alternative for going ahead and saying, hey, look, here's where you can play all your games, here's how you can access everything. What's going to happen with the handheld device? Is that going to be an $800 PC?
I should be the CEO of Game... Here I go again. I'm having a stroke, apparently. Your girl is having a stroke. I should be the CEO of Xbox, right? Because I know about video games, and I know about people who play video games that may not have a lot of money. And I know about how to be pro-consumer. Microsoft, I criticize you a lot. Give me a phone call, please. Your girl wants to work for you. I have some brilliant ideas on how you can turn around the Xbox division. I've been playing video games my whole life. I know a lot about video games. Hire me. Hire me. Hire me, okay? We can fix stuff together and make Xbox great again.
Is that what's going to be happening now?
I'm going to make a hat. A green hat that says, make Xbox great again. Microsoft, I can help you.
Is your next console coming out going to just be a $1,000 PC that you go ahead and put Steam on it? Is that what you're going to do? Oh, here's our next console generation. It's $800, but it's also a PC. Hell, if you're going to spend that much money, just buy a StarForge PC in the link in the description down below. At least you actually have a PC then. The idea of console...
Or if you want a great gaming laptop, Lenovo, they got great warranty. They build high quality gaming laptops. Not sponsored or anything, but if you need a gaming laptop, Lenovo, folks, Lenovo.
Consoles is not to be a high-end luxury product. The idea of consoles are to be an affordable entry point
That's
into
right.
video games. That's why they
I
are
agree.
around $500 normally. That's why they are not as expensive as
I agree. And raising the price of the Xbox Series S is absolutely stupid to me.
PCs. That's why console fanboys have always said, I don't have to buy a $2,000 PC to get the same performance as I do on my PS5 Pro. That's the whole point of them. They're not supposed to be insane luxury products. They're supposed to be available for the common consumer. And right now, increasing the price of the actual product when it should be going down instead, because your budgets are not my fucking concern, is the actual issue. And you know what really what really makes me crazy? Let me get close to you guys real quick. You know what
Here
really
we go.
makes me
Something
crazy?
bad else is going to happen.
Is the statement Microsoft made to IGN about these
No.
price increases.
No.
Wait
No.
till you guys see what they
No. No. No.
And I quote via Microsoft directly, "We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. Can someone explain to me what value are you offering by increasing the price of things and talking about the cost of development? Your inability...
They took away the value. The only value that they have now going for them is Game Pass. Hope they don't raise the prices of that. Anyways.
to budget video games is not my fucking concern. That is your problem to deal with. Explain to me how 30 people in France that got fired by Ubisoft can make a game that trumps everything out of the AAA market today and charges $50 for it that you lumped out for Game Pass to put it on your service, by the way, so you knew the value of it in the first place, and they can do it, but everybody else is going to charge $80? Explain that to me. Or the fact that you put out Oblivion Remastered with an Unreal coat of paint on it, and you put it for $50 as well. But now you want to make games cost $80? You want to increase the price of console?
Yeah, that's basically what Oblivion Remastered was an Unreal version of the game with, That's the reason why that there are stutters in that game. Because we all know that Unreal Engine is an unoptimized joke. Epic Games. Unreal Engine 5 is also going to cause to crash, too. And a lot of video games looking the same, too.
Consoles to $600? What's going to happen next gen? Our console's going to be $600 flat, and the Pro models are going to be $800?
Yeah, that's
At
ridiculous.
That point, you might as well get yourself a PC. Because literally, there's no point to having a console. This is an actual stupid argument directly. And the fact that so many people are sitting around not understanding why I'm angry and so many others. Trying to go ahead and provide excuses.
I tried not to curse in this video, I really did, but unfortunately, this is stupid. This is stupid. And I don't condone these prices. These prices are just pure greed at this point. And Microsoft had the perfect budget console at $300. And it should have stayed there. That was a perfect console to get people into Game Pass.
For these companies, using things like the inflation calculator,
Yeah.
using things like, oh, the cost of games development and everything else is going up. Oh, I want my quality product. All of you clowns are the ones to blame. For years, you idiots, you morons, you have been sitting there gaslighting me, talking about like, oh, you're just broke. Get your money right, brokey. All you do is pirate video games. You don't spend any money or support the devs. You don't love this industry. Well, you know what? I love it enough to call it out when it's... You guys, on the other hand, are just a third guy, the human centipede, going around talking about, oh, I can't wait for the first guy to finish his cuttlefish. That way it slides down my throat on the back end. Every single person that talked about, oh, games should be costing more money, getting angry at things today, or trying to call Xbox out. Well,
Yeah, games shouldn't be costing more money because you're pricing the video games out of people's hands. Not every game is on Game Pass. And video games should not be $80. They should not be $70. They should be $49.99, to be honest. Some games should be like $29.99. Because of how broke of a mess that they are.
while still doing the same thing for PlayStation. You guys are all absolute clowns and hip.
Look at Concord. Concord was a PlayStation game and also a PC game that flopped so bad, that had so many problems within, 24 hours? The game was completely recalled. They refunded everybody's money and the game is no longer playable. Sony made that game disappear, took the servers offline and everything. Because it was that bad. And they charge money for that, by the way. A lot of money for that. And the game was a broken mess.
Hypocrites. Every single person defending Nintendo, absolute clown and hypocrite. And I've already seen it before. Why are PC guys getting mad, huh? Why would PC guys get mad about consoles increasing their prices and costs? Doesn't make any sense. You know why, you moron? It's because it impacts everybody.
It
The fact
does.
that I've got morons like this guy running around like Gaz being like, oh, join the PC Master Race, as he goes off and he spends $2,000 on a GPU that he's never going to use 10% of the actual performance of. That is a literal scam, by the way, because it says NVIDIA on the box. It's a 5090 when that GPU isn't even made for video games. It's made for 3D Fluidinari Blender animations.
Yep.
That's the problem. When I got clowns like him and everybody else going around spending top dollar because they just want to flex on Twitter for more.
It's like the 4090 and 5090. They are not made for gaming. No.
Morons about their game.
Plus the 5090, honestly, all the entire 50 series from the videos is a ginormous scam. Like, I'm going to take, for example, my RTX 4060 M compared to the RTX 50 series M, 5060 M. Hang on a second, I'm having a stroke apparently. Once again, I'm having multiple strokes through this video. I apologize. The RTX, this is not an AMD card, Angel. The RTX 4060M and the RTX 5060M are basically the same goddamn cards.
Game collection, their wall of rigidity behind them with all their game cases everywhere, talking about like
The regular 4060 and the 5060, they're the same goddamn cards. Maybe the 5060 has a few more CUDA cores, but they're the same goddamn cards. They perform the same goddamn benchmarks, and then NVIDIA has them at a higher price. Scam!
I own my games when half of them are digital. You didn't even own them in the first place.
You
The
don't
reason
own digital
why
games.
I get mad about price increases in this industry is because it does impact me, and it does affect me. I don't want to spend more money on a worse or degraded product. I don't want to spend...
Yeah, me either. Some of the games that I had on a Game Pass was broken when they first came out. If I would have bought that game, it would automatically be getting a refund. And I have refunded several games from Steam already because they have been broken messes.
more money on video games that are stuttering messes of garbage that have DLC, day one microtransactions, early access for 2 days for $20 more, so $100 for a video game. I'm sick and tired of people taking a hobby that I love, that I care about, and sitting there and defending multi-billion and trillion-dollar corporations because they have feelings for them.
If you have sexual feelings for multi-billion-dollar corporations, there's a mental hospital probably somewhere in your area that you need to go and talk to. And he's right. Alex is right. These prices are making it hard to play video games anymore. Because it goes up on the consoles, the price of video games, and then we get the same charges. $80, $90, $100 for video games. And a lot of us, we can't afford video games. What are we to do? We have to do Xbox Game Pass. But if Xbox Game Pass raises their prices for Ultimate, then I guess we wait years for sales just to enjoy a video game and keep playing the same video games over and over again.
Maybe grow a spine. This industry is cooked.
I agree.
Everything about this thing
I agree.
is cooked. The entire industry is going to have a reset and a crash because these companies are trying to go around and squeeze blood from a stone. And instead of actually trying to find new ways of gaining new customers, they're trying to milk you for all your worth. And you're sitting there and accepting of it. This was the easiest thing for Microsoft to avoid. They would have looked like the golden child in front of everybody's eyes. As everybody raises the price of their consoles, raises the price of their games, they would have said, $20 a month Game Pass.
I'll be right back. Okie dokie Loki, I'm back. Your girl is back. Had a phone call. And let's get back to what we were discussing.
Our consoles, no, we dropped the price on those bad boys. Those other guys, no, don't be like them. We're here for you. And they would have earned more customers, and they would have had more people buy into their products, buy into their services than anybody else would have, because at the end of the day, I don't care how much of a fanboy you actually are, the money comes first. And the squeeze people are feeling right now is far greater than anybody could ever imagine. But instead,
I agree with that statement. I really do, because if everybody raises the prices of the consoles and Microsoft doesn't, and they actually drop the prices of the console, people that may be getting into games or anything, they will go and buy the cheaper console because they don't have much money. And who would be the cheaper console? Microsoft with their Xbox consoles. Because they're not going to spend all that money for a PlayStation or a Switch 2 if they don't have a lot of money. And then you give them a couple months of Game Pass, like Microsoft does with OEM computers, and you get these people hooked on Game Pass. Well, they're going to continue their Game Pass subscription. That's $20 or $17.99 for the Game Pass. And now you got money from the console sales. You're getting money from Game Pass, and maybe if they want to buy a few digital games, you're getting money from that. Cha-ching! 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 Yet they couldn't do that, could they? Because they're like, well, we're just going to raise the prices of our console to try to make money, and yet still pricing it out of people's budget. I understand that the prices is still lower of the 512 Series S. The prices are still lower, but honestly, it's still at an affordable price, but it really isn't, because I think $250, a price drop from $299 to $250, would have been actually really good, because you would have got people to be more interested in that console at a lower price point. You give them a couple months of Game Pass, and you get them hooked on Game Pass. So now they're giving you $17.99 a month, and you're getting more money. You understand, Microsoft, what you could have did, but you didn't. God damn it. This could have been a chance for you to save the industry, but you went along with everybody else. Because I got to say, the PlayStation 5 is not an affordable game console.
they chose to go ahead and follow the pack. The third guy in the human centipede, that's Microsoft.
Yep.
Either right in the middle or
Yep.
at the end. I'm guessing at the end right now, getting the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's crazy? What if PlayStation doesn't increase the cost of their consoles?
It's still pretty high price.
What if PlayStation says, nah, you know what?
It's still pretty high price, and I still think that the Xbox Series S, the 512 model, at the $300 and something price point, is still affordable. But if they would have dropped the price of that console to $250, mwah, that would have been the chef's kiss right there. Anyways,
We're not going to increase the cost. We're going to keep them the same. Microsoft would look like absolute clowns.
but see, Alex, they did raise the price in other countries. Sony did.
In the gaming industry. But I've got a feeling
Hey, the The PS5 Pro, absolute scam for the price that they're charging for that system.
They're gonna raise their console prices too.
That's what I'm
And
thinking.
their game prices too.
Yep.
Because right now we are seeing a massive increase of companies trying to gouge you for every single penny they possibly can. So to everybody the past 5 years that called me broke, a pirate, scum, a dirtbag, not supporting the gaming industry, cheap, where are you now? Now you want to listen to me. Well, now it's too late.
Isn't he the sexiest man on YouTube? I think Alex is the most sexiest man on YouTube.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below.
Personally, I believe it's all ludicrous. I think it's stupid. I think that they're using the tariffs as kind of as a crutch to raise prices, or the analysts are using the tariffs as a crutch for the analysts. Like I said, I've seen a couple of news agencies on Facebook that said, oh, because of the tariffs, Nintendo had to be their prices. And now I seen an analyst say because of the tariffs, that's the reason why Microsoft had to raise their prices. And now they also believe that Sony is going to raise their prices. But excuse me, can we just say, if it was the tariffs, why is all the prices increasing around the globe for stuff? Including Nintendo. Why is $80 plus for digital games a thing? The tariffs does not affect a digital good. But yet digital goods are going up, and they're saying, oh, because of the tariffs. Digital goods are not subject to any kind of tariff, okay? So stop blaming the tariffs for digital goods. There's no reason that a video game should be $80, should be $70, should be $60. I think $50 is good enough for a video game, and some other titles should be $30, right? More affordable, right? We're looking at video games should be affordable. It should be affordable, but now it's not going to be affordable. And the only option to have affordable gaming is Xbox Game Pass. Because it's the equivalent of renting video games. To all the people out there that's saying that renting video games is bad, what did you all do as a child? If you guys are about as old as me, what did you all do as a child? Did you guys not rent movies or video games from the rental store on the weekends? Did you not do that? Or maybe you're young enough to not remember the video rental stores. We rented our video games and movies back in the day. And I'm doing the equivalent of renting video games by paying a streaming service to play video games. Xbox Game Pass. I think Xbox Game Pass offers me a way better deal than video streaming sites. How expensive video games are? Yeah. Services like Game Pass is the best. And I will still defend Game Pass as being pro-consumer. But unfortunately, with all the prices, increases of consoles and everything, is that going to turn people off of Game Pass? I don't know. Everything's getting ridiculous, folks. It's going to get madness out there, and I think the video game crash is coming. What's your thoughts and opinions about this? Leave the comments below. Please keep it civil. No arguing or fighting over politics, or the comments will be deleted. Got to keep it civil, keep it nice, and keep it kind. Because we're all in this mess together. And we're all going to not be able to afford gaming if we all don't stop and talk about this and how it's bad for the industry. Video game crash is coming. And we're all not going to be able to afford video games at one point if we don't take a stance and say that we're against these price increases. Anyways, I'm your girl Angel, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care, peace, love, and hugs. Be kind to each other. I love you all.